They have been an absolute joy to coach. I think through the highs and the lows, they've just wanted to find a way to be better and be great at everything they do. They have a ton of personality, and I think that they've just just really committed to each other and to what our standard is. And I've just really enjoyed it. They've been incredibly refreshing for myself and the staff, and they're not all made that way. So it's just been a lot of fun through the highs and the lows. And I still think our best softball's ahead of us. And I think that they believe that too. And so they're just consistently working towards that every day.
And then Texas A&M spent some time this year ranked number one. Just what's made them so good? I guess what's kind of the secret sauce for them?
Well, they're just really good at everything. So they spent some time just last week. And I think that some probably still would think they're number one. It's pretty kind of finicky just because I think a lot of those top few teams, it's just whatever they did last, obviously, but they they do a lot well. They have five pitchers they've relied on, so they mix their pitching a ton. They do a good job defensively, and then a lot, they rank pretty high in most offensive categories. And they're just they're just tough. They're tough. So they're pretty good at everything, Ethan.
And last thing I'll ask is just, the SEC's been tough in years past, but it's just like this year, I mean, a complete gauntlet. How, as we get closer to the postseason, how much do you feel like the schedule that y'all have played and still have yet to play, with the last 2 weeks, have what it does for the team, I guess, getting ready for postseason whenever, you probably won't be afraid to face anybody.
Yeah, I think the SEC's been tough for a long time. Every time, like it's just incredibly tough. This year, it's like on steroids. It's been brutal, and we have one of the toughest conference schedules. So not only is the conference tough, but we have one of the toughest conference schedules. And I think that you have to hope it prepares you. I mean, that's why you do it. You play the best. They demand the best out of you every day, and you have to find a way to be resilient. You have to find a way to, recover when things don't go your way. You have to find a way to play a team three times. So it's obviously preparing you for a super regional, of finding a way to win two out of the three, no matter what it looks like. And so you have to hope that it prepares you. Because it's going to demand your best. And so I think that's what it's done. This year has been brutal. It's been brutal. And obviously we knew that coming in when you add Texas and Oklahoma. But just the strength of the conference as a whole has elevated. And so it's not just adding those two, it's just everybody in the conference getting stronger. And so there's no breath. You just keep grinding. And through that, your team grows and learns a lot about itself, not only skill wise, but character wise. And I think that's the piece that also prepares you, is just really figuring out who you are and what you're made of.
Dudley?
Coach, you talked about going into last weekend, the opportunity to get some rest, and y'all did have the Saturday rain out as well. Just talk about how y'all come out of that, and do you feel like they're very refreshed?
Yeah, I think it was a unique opportunity to kind of just like take a breath and take a couple days off. A lot of our players got to go home, which is like unheard of in season, and just take a couple days to reset mentally and physically. And so we just got back yesterday, and it was kind of odd because it's just really like 2.5 days, yet we come back and we're like, man, we missed you. Like, oh, I missed you, because you get so used to seeing everybody on the daily. But I just, I felt like everybody just had this lightness to them yesterday, that you don't necessarily get in season. It's a very long season. It's a taxing season. It's a lot of games. And so when you get the opportunity to take a couple days to just take a breath and rest and make the most of that, I do think we all made the most of that. So we're ready to roll the rest of the way.
Obviously, these last 2 weekends, you want to get as many wins as you can, but what would you like to accomplish over these last 2 weekends before you get into postseason?
Well, I think we're still every day working towards being our best, and I don't think we're there yet. I think we have a lot of tools. I think we have a lot of character. I think we have a great skill set. I don't know that we've always put it all together, so I think we're still working towards that. And I think that the best thing is the team believes that too. Is like there's still our best out ahead of us. Obviously, you want to win the game, your next game. We have a really tough next 6 games of regular season play, and so I think it's just continuing to fine tune what we do, fight every pitch, and figure out a way to just be better every day.
Appreciate it.
Mhm.
I gotta obviously ask you about the big moment over the weekend with Bree Ellis getting the golden ticket. From your perspective, take us through behind the scenes on that, and what did that mean for her, and what did it mean for you?
Well, it was such a special moment, and it was pretty cool because not only, I mean, obviously it was a huge moment for Bree, but one of the first things Bree said when she got to our circle was like, "Oh my gosh, Reese, I mean, this happened when you threw a perfect game. Like what, and just wanted to immediately put it on Reese and her performance, which is how Bree is. But obviously we knew that was coming, and getting to plan that and surprise her with something that she's dreamt of doing and she's worked for. It was a really heartfelt, rewarding moment in every way. I think you could see the genuine emotion that Bree had, just the surprise, but also just the realization that a dream of hers was coming true. Because as great as Bree is, she is also incredibly humble. And although she has a big personality and she's just really humble, and for her, it was something that she really wanted. And even though she's, on track to do all these special things, she's incredible. She still is like, gosh, I hope I get drafted. Like, we're just kind of like, you better. Otherwise, we need to question softball, and so I think for her, it's just something she wanted really badly. And you could see in that moment how much it meant to her. And it's something that she's worked for and grinded for. And so it was really, really cool to be a part of. And her parents were there and emotional. And it's just it meant a ton to her, and it meant a ton to us to get to see her dream play out.
Reese, and you mentioned the perfect game. What was working for her that day, and what have you seen from her from where she is now compared to where she was when the season started? Of course, winning SEC Pitcher of the Week.
Well, anytime there's a perfect game, it's a combination of a lot of things. One, she attacked the zone really well, trusted her spin really well. I mean, it was a perfect game. It was 5 innings, but it was 46 pitches, so an incredibly efficient outing, with 2 strikeouts, which means you're relying on your defense a ton, which is what we do. We have an exceptional defense. There was some tremendous plays made behind her. The last one on defense was Carly Davison's dive up the middle, that saved a hit. But for Reese, it was just the consistency, the just attack mindset of just really trusting her stuff through the zone and working her defense. And I think that's been big for Reese. Is she's had some really big outings for us. And she's had some that weren't ideal. That's just pitching. That's the game. And along the way, she's never stopped working, and she's never lost her enthusiasm for working and being ready when she got the ball. And she was ready when she got the ball. And it was just really cool to be a part of, and really cool to see the team celebrate her.
All right, I've always asked players this, and they always tell me they avoid talking to the pitcher. They don't bring it up. They get very superstitious. It gets really quiet. Was that like how it was in the dugout? Then, from your standpoint, you're involved in this from a pitch call and everything standpoint. Are you like kind of get sort of quiet yourself? Obviously, you're still communicating with her, but how do you, when your pitcher's throwing a no-hitter, perfect game, how are you from a mentality standpoint?
Um, well, for me, it's just staying the course and not overthinking anything. I think more than anything, you're just, um, for me, calling pitches, you're just trying to call the pitches that are going to create outs and that she's going to be the most confident and comfortable in. And for that, it's just, staying the course. She's doing the work. And so when that's happening, I think a good chunk of the team was aware of it. I think some of them weren't aware of it, and especially when you're in that setting where it ends up being a run roll and on your offensive side, sometimes you kind of lose the feeling of it. I don't, if that makes sense. And so it was cool, like when we scored that eighth run and Reese came out to celebrate the win, and it was awesome because I was like, and you could just see how excited she was, and just getting that hug in that moment of like shifting, even for her, shifting her focus from like, oh, we won, to like, oh crap, like that was the perfect game. And some never get to experience that. And so it's just really cool to kind of just see that raw, genuine emotion realization, just in her face and in that embrace. It was really cool. But you start to feel how important every play is. And so you could feel, without talking, just the reaction of our staff when Carly Davison made that play was just like, it wasn't just like that diving catch saving a hit. It was the diving catch saving the hit of the no-hitter in the perfect game. And so you just like have that little extra emotion of reaction, and without talking about what it is, you feel that from everybody.
Every perfect game no-hitter is different. Are there, from your standpoint, though, are you aware when your pitcher's throwing a no-hitter perfect game? Does it vary? Like, are you like locked in so much on each play that you're not even thinking about any of that?
I am aware.
Okay.
I am
Okay.
aware. Obviously, the later it goes, you feel it a little bit more. And yeah, you're aware, and then just like being really mindful of just making sure if something like that's gonna, get spoiled, that it's getting spoiled on their best.
Do you like the bye week when you got it here from a standpoint for your youngsters to maybe get a bit of a not a break because you played Colorado State, but just from a conference playing these top 20 teams every weekend, it can take its toll sometimes on a young player that's not accustomed to that. Was this kind of a good, especially having Saturday washed out, a blessing in disguise in a way to get an extra day off here for the stretch run?
I'll tell you this weekend. No, yeah, we've had, so it's kind of fallen at different places every year. And, for a stretch there, it felt like we either had it in weekend one or the last weekend, which are hard weekends. And so it's just kind of like, man, it'd be nice to have it in the middle, or just like feel what that feels like. This time it's not necessarily the breadth of the opponent. It was getting to play the 3 games scheduled Friday, Saturday with Easter Sunday, and still needing Monday off for how our weeks work. It kind of just allowed us to like literally take a break. And so once we got on the other side of Friday and we're like, man, Saturday is not looking good with the weather. We practiced Saturday morning, and then it was like it still almost felt like we had 3 days off because of our, just hitting and doing that Saturday morning. And you just don't get that. I mean, when you're playing a 50+ game regular season, you just don't get that. And it just felt nice. It felt nice to be able to just have that break, that breath, that reset. And it felt nice getting back to practice yesterday and just being really ready to go. Now I'll tell you this weekend if it was good or not.
I understand. I understand.
But big picture, I feel like it was good for all of us.
You mentioned A&M and what that you see from them. What do you see from Coach Ford and her staff, and how why are they so successful as a coach? Because obviously she's been successful everywhere she's been, and no different here at A&M here, getting them to where they've been now at this point.
Well, I think they're highly competitive. They are really smart about the game. They work really well together. They've been together for a long time, especially Trish and Jeff. And so they have a good understanding of what their expectation is, what their style of play is, and then finding players that fit in that style. And so you're always going to have a hard-nosed, competitive group. And because I think more than anything, teams take on coaches' personalities. And so I think that's what you get from that staff and what you get from that team. They're going to be really well coached. They're going to be prepared. They're going to be very confident in what they do. And that's who they are. So you see that in the team as a reflection of them.
You're going to next 2 weeks, you're facing head coaches that handle the pitching staffs like you do.
Mm-hmm.
So when you prep for them, does that not give you an advantage, but do you look for little trends there as somebody who's, or is it just no different than another head coach that's not handling a pitching coach? It's not
I think it's no different than any other staff makeup. I think what you see in head coaches that run pitching is they have assistants that they put a lot of trust in and do a really great job, as my staff does. And so it doesn't really change our prep so much, doesn't change that outlook. It's just kind of always diving into what they do well, what we're going to counter, what we do well, and making sure that we make the most of the matchup.
I know you said that you just got back with the team. The team just got back yesterday, but do you sense there's a lot of them that this is a pretty close drive for their families to go to this game? Do you sense any extra excitement there that it's really kind of a homecoming game for a lot of them?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a lot of Texas players. We have a lot from the Houston area that played for the Impact org. And so, yeah, it was just like some of them got to go home. Some didn't go home for the break because they're getting to see their family on this trip. And so it's just kind of gauging their excitement. And also just kind of their level of how they feel about it. Some are really excited, to go home and play in front of a huge, following, and some feel a little bit more pull with that. And so it's just kind of gauging where they land in that and making the most of it. But it's exciting. We have a lot that will have a lot of family and friends there.
Do you allow yourself to turn off softball for a few hours and be a family, be a mom, be the wife, or is softball always in the background there? Is there a softball on the screen? You're constantly thinking softball here.
Well, there were a lot of good matchups this weekend. So my husband, I know, was like, oh, we're still watching softball. I was like, yeah, we are. Yeah, we are. Because there were so many good games on Saturday and Sunday and even Monday night. So we had, a few of the players that didn't go home. They came over. Some of our staff came over for Easter, and we had softball on and hung together. And it's very much who we are and what we do. But yeah, I even like shut off a little bit, other than watching. But it's different to watch when you don't have to like necessarily prep. Or so it was kind of a nice reset, little break for all of us. I don't ever do that. So it was kind of nice to give myself, maybe like a day, half a day.
All right. Any more questions? All good?